everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for week 5 of Survivor 49. My name is Mike Bloom, back to talk about another episode of Survivor 49. We're reaching the halfway point of the season, and spoiler alert for the next time, we're already bidding adieu to the two-tribe format. You really don't know what you've got till it's gone, but we are going for the time being, as we are here to talk about yet another Tina member going out chanting. Let me welcome in, of course, our panel for this week's podcast. Liana, Boraas, who would have thought that we needed to do to get to know one another is not podcast about Survivor for 15 seasons, but just carry heavy sandbags and walk back and forth and ask each other breakers that you might be able to posit during a corporate retreat.
Exactly. It's the fun fact of it all. Share one fun fact about yourself that everybody loves to answer those questions. But yeah, I mean, clearly that's what we should have done for our sort of team building retreat before beginning the B&B.
The good news about this type of stuff is that when you craft these bios or fill out these applications for these types of reality shows, you kind of already have the fun facts locked and loaded, as opposed to us plebs, right? Who are like, can't think of like one interesting thing about me. I'm on 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sorry, you're making me share something about myself. Ugh.
Well, we are so happy to share the screen with this person this week. Of course, they say goats get high off hay. Jesus got high off God. This person knows how to get high because she spends lots of time on a plane. It is Chantele Francis.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. I love doing the B&B because it's just a fun, good time. And so can't wait to see what's in store for today.
Well, let's ask Chantele about, are you feeling that fun and good about Survivor 49 so far? Again, we blink and before we know it, we're almost at, a month and a half into the season. We're encroaching upon the halfway point, and we are surprisingly not merging next week. So we're spending a little bit more time in the pre-merge, which I think, for better or for worse, some would say from a strategic perspective is not necessarily the most next level stuff going on. But what's the level you're feeling right now about Survivor 49 in general?
Well, I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm always going to like Survivor. I find Survivor fun. Like, I've been watching it since the very beginning. So I will always love Survivor. I do think that, and we say it all the time, that the 3-tribe format really kind of boring. I don't find it interesting to see one tribe get decimated and going back and not getting Flint and not being able to, like I just have seen this before. So it's not really that exciting for me that these new people have like it really tough at camp. And so like I wish that I could see some of these players actually play Survivor. And I do find that like the 2-tribe format, it allows people to strategize. They talk to people, not a tribe swap where like they're not in like don't have a numbers advantage, but like I would like to see that again where 2 tribes will give opportunity for people that are on the bottom to make connections and be able to do the strategic side of Survivor, which is what I like. So I just would like to see more strategy than it just be a numbers game with starving people. But I like some of these characters. I'm curious when we get to the merge, when we can start seeing them play Survivor, how things will go. But up until now, I'm just kind of like waiting to get to merge.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting also when you think about this episode specifically, because like, even though, yes, okay, so we're at a 2-tribe format, it's an opportunity for people to flip, but we still don't even see that because of what occurred before, right? Like the initial conditions were set up so that this would continue to exist. And I know that the editors and I mean, I think genuinely like Nate and Savannah were considering voting out Jawan in this episode. So I do think that there's some legitimacy to, oh, okay, maybe we don't just make it such a straight down the line between Hina and Uli. But unfortunately, that was the ultimate outcome of this. And I will say, we can talk maybe a little bit about Jason. I don't think he was doing himself any favors in terms of like advocating for himself, which maybe could have, I think, legitimately moved the needle a little bit, given the fact that they were so interested in Jawan. So I agree with you that, we've seen that throughout this season, and then unfortunately it's continued into the 2-tribe swap as well as a consequence of what's pre-existed it.
I think something that is working in the favor of these past couple of episodes is that I do feel like the Uli volcano, appropriate to the red color of the tribe, is going to erupt. We have this I wouldn't even say simmering at this point. It went to a straight up full boil this week. Resentment between Sage and Shannon. And then again, as you mentioned, over on the other tribe, you have strike two. I mean, I would say Jawan nearly struck out just in one swing, but him for some reason unintentionally targeting Savannah's possessions with the stuff that he was taking. But it seems like the Uli tribe, while again Savannah touted this from the very beginning, is like, well, this is the Vibes tribe. Arguably, this is maybe one of the most combustible of the original tribes. It's just that due to the way the numbers worked out and the immunity challenges worked out, they've never had the opportunity to really eat at one another. And, we'll go back to three tribes next week. On the one hand, I was like, oh man, I would want to see if this group going back again. Now that the two Hina people were taken out, what would happen? On the other hand, I'm like, it's just probably going to be Jawan. It seems like they really like Sophie at this point. And so it's what have you done for me lately? And what you have done for me lately is, slobber all over my water bottle. So GTFO, Jawan. But I do think that, to your point, Chantele, and we talked about this as well with Sam last week too, right? That I think some of the expense of kind of cutting loose some of these players who may have been a little bit more destined for the pre-merge, either by the tribe layout or, the unfortunate circumstances of this swap, it does expend that in lieu of setting up what could be a really exciting second half of the season. Now, does it make this half of the season that much more appealing? Maybe not. But even just watching some of the interpersonal drama happen over the course of this episode, we're starting to get into the petty streak of this season, and your boy loves pettiness.
Before we start talking about pettiness, though, I did want to say something about Jason. I do feel a little bit bad for the position that he was in because, he hadn't gone to tribal. So he hasn't actually started playing Survivor yet. He hasn't been strategizing. He hasn't realized what it maybe could feel like to be on the bottom or like to know who's going to be voted out. And so he gets thrown into this new tribe where he doesn't really have any numbers here. He doesn't really know how to strategize with these new people. And so I definitely think he dropped the ball. But I think he just didn't, I don't know how to strategize with these people that I've never, met before. And they're not my crew. And so I have to give him a little bit of grace for the fact that he couldn't get himself out of this position because it's his first time playing the game and it's with people that he's never even really talked to before.
That's the thing. I do think you make a good point. I do agree, Liana, that maybe on the surface, the idea of hey, keep me because I can make my entire tribe stop targeting you is I've got a bridge to sell you if you really believe that. On the other hand, yeah, if you don't know how to strategize these people, how to pitch to them, if Savannah approaches you and says, make this very specific argument, you'd be hard pressed to not at least try it, to be like, listen, I don't know any better option I could use to try to pitch to these people, considering I met them 2 days ago.
Yeah, I guess he could have definitely worked with her because she was giving him something. But I think that he just was kind of basically fish out of water here. He's on a new tribe and he's like, is she lying to me? Is she trying to entrap me? She doesn't really know necessarily how to play it. But he could have done better. Absolutely. But I think that he was kind of in a losing situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I get that. I hear that. But also his situation was incredibly simple if you really break it down, right? You have two majorities, let's say, and let's go back to last week's episode as well, right? You've got two groups of equal strength, right? Why would group A keep anyone from group B, right? Well, the only reason why that would happen is if you defect to group B. So instead of Jason from the very first episode being like, I'm really tight with the Hinas.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Who cares how tight you are with the Hinas? Throw them under the bus. And then when you get back to the Hinas, you'd be like, oh my God, thank God, guys, I'm back. I'm so down with you guys. Right? It's just immediately throw your other tribe under the bus. Say, I'm so down. I am so ready to work with you. I was on the outs on the tribe, whether or not it's true or not. Who cares? Self-preservationist mode should kick in and you should try to save yourself to exist one more day. So we just never saw that from Jason. And I'm just like, what? Why? Just lie, bro. You can do this. I believe in you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a lawyer in him. I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly. He had his hand on the Bible the entire time. What's interesting is I got the chance to talk with Jason, and it turns out that Jason, despite, the very little strategic content we got pre-swap, did have a number one ally, and it was MC. To the point where MC actually showed him the Beware advantage that she had. And so, to your point, there was a lot of discussion, including from Jason himself. maybe doing the lawyer thing, playing a bit of the straw man of being like, no, I understand why people might not, might think, why did you not do to MC what Sage did to Rizzo of like, hey, I want to work with you. Here's this information. He didn't want to throw MC under the bus specifically. He said if anyone else found that advantage, he would do it. But that doesn't stop him from doing that and just lying about who has the advantage.
Yeah.
Right?
Or don't even say the thing about the advantage. Just say, you don't know who found the advantage, but just throw him under the bus. Be like, I don't know, Steven's controlling and Christina loves God too much. I don't know. You do whatever you want to say. Like, but just, you have to come across as like,
imagine
I don't care about
like,
these people.
Listen, I'm going to tell you about a bit of a secret. This person loves the big man upstairs a little too much. Can you keep me?
But once a four-way with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Am I right?
Whoa.
Yeah, she's got her own final three. I'm not talking about anyone on this beach.
No, but like, and that's the thing. Like, I don't care. Like, you don't actually have to tell the truth, right? Like,
Yeah, you're right.
It's what you said, Mike. You don't have to do that. Okay. Wait. What else did Jason say?
So Jason said that. So this is another interesting thing as well, and it kind of makes me wonder how the episode would have looked if we deviated a little bit from the typical structure we get from a pre-tribal perspective, right? Which is like, it's option A, but is it option B? Could be option B. The real vacillating between two people mindset. Jason fully admitted to the fact that the Ulis had him spun around 100%. Like, he never thought about playing his shot in the dark because he was approached about this plan to take out the reason why he wanted to vote out Rizzo is because, like, apparently people had approached him being like, would you vote out Rizzo? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll vote for anybody. And so, like, he wasn't the one leading the charge on the Rizzo thing, but they made him believe specifically, if you play your shot in the dark, we can't trust you at that point. We're not going to want to work with you if you're throwing your trust away by putting your hand in that bag. And part of me kind of wonders, Chantele, if that would have been a more interesting way of looking at things. That, yeah, maybe there was some teasing of, like, to your point, Nate and Savannah probably did feel some resentment towards Jawan. But if we went for a bit more of an unconventional edit of just, we know Jason's going, here's the way they're going to snow him over the course of the afternoon, that could have been a really interesting perspective, especially from some of these Uli members that we are probably going to peg as at least making a pretty deep run considering how much we see of them.
Yeah, why aren't we seeing that? If that's what like kind of happened, there had to be a couple of conversations with other people being like, hey, Rizzo's going to be the decoy vote. We're going to tell him this so that he doesn't play his shot in the dark. Like, I would love to see that. It would just at least show people playing the game instead of just seeing the results in the end. And, with our frustration with Jason here, I really, like, who cares if they're saying this? Like, it's like your one shot to be maybe safe in a scenario where it looks bad, like, and they could very easily be lying to you. Like, I would just be like, I'm gonna take the risk and play my shot in the dark and ask for forgiveness later. So I'm surprised that he allowed himself to get snowed when he's in such a bad situation with these new people. He's the only one from his tribe left, and then he still believes that they're going to take their person out before him. So yeah, it was a little bit of a miscalculation on his part.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why he wouldn't play the shot in the dark. That is like a little bit of trying to play past tomorrow. Like, I can understand that. I do wish, Mike, that we had seen some of that, and then maybe the intrigue is like, does he play a shot in the dark? Yes or no, right? Instead of like the Jawan vote. So that I get. But the other thing, like, I have to keep reminding myself as the Monday morning, or I guess the Thursday morning quarterback, is it's really freaking hot. They're not eating. They have no fire. Their brains are mush, I think, as Savannah said in tribal council. So, like, I'm going to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and be like, if I don't eat after 6 hours, I'm like a cranky hot mess. So I can't imagine after multiple days. So I get it. Like, I get it. And I get that you have to kind of stick with, you just, like, your brain just doesn't, like, work. You just can't think.
I mean, on that note, I have seen some pushback from some fans about Savannah, particularly this past week, about, like, she's going in way too hard against Jawan. Why is she talking about him this way behind his back, as opposed to, like, not talking about it with him directly? I don't know. How do you feel about it, Chantele? I know on the one hand, we find this type of stuff entertaining, but do you feel like she is saying too much about him without his presence?
Not really. I mean, it's clear that he annoys her to a certain degree. So everything that he's doing on top of that is just feeding that irritation that she has with him already. But I would hope that Juwan would feel those vibes that don't touch this girl's stuff. Like if there's somebody that is very particular about their things, they keep it neat. Like, make sure it's not theirs when you're going to go up and collect firewood. Make sure that you have your own water bottle, because nobody in that little environment, your stuff is kind of like your lifeline to like feeling like a person, and like you're just like gonna have no respect for other people's things. So I think she's valid in being kind of annoyed with him. And I don't actually mind him talking about, like, what else do you have to do on the island other than talk about people, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're in a shitty situation, you're on this beach, this person's annoying you. Like, yeah, I'm probably going to be negatively gossiping about somebody. So I'm okay with it, but I'm a bit of a gossip. So
no, that's a great point. I mean, listen, we watch Big Brother, right? Where like inevitably things turn to a point where there's just nothing to do in that house for people to just shit talk everybody, much to our chagrin. And as you mentioned, Liana, add on to that the fact that like that's in an air conditioned house where they can eat all they want every day. Add hangry onto it in all manner of the word, and yeah, this could be a real bitch sesh if you want it to be.
Well, and I think that's the way that I like to use just a fake example. Obviously, this would never happen in real life, but like, let's say Puya did something that annoyed me. Again, never would happen,
No.
but like, just like a hypothetical, look, yeah, I would talk to him about it, right? I'd be like, hey, this bothered me, but you know what I'm going to do first? Yeah, I'm gonna bitch about it to somebody, okay? And be like, you're not gonna believe this. Blah, blah, blah. It like allows you to get that process the emotion out before you can actually be like, okay, now let's like actually talk about it. I don't know if that's what Savannah's doing, that she's using the confessionals as a like, let me complain about it before I like talk to him so that I'm a little bit more calm when I do talk to him. But yeah, I get it. It's just how we process and like process our feelings. It's normal. Gossiping's normal.
Now, let me posit something here, because I do think that Jawan did this again completely accidentally.
I agree.
But what if Savannah had made more of a stink about it the first time? I know that we talk about the faux pas that exist if you are trying to make too much of a big deal, a mountain out of a molehill. But could this be a bit of a you, me, and Dupree situation where, you gave Jawan an inch and he's going to take a mile and your stuff? If she threw a bigger shit fit about the bag thing back on Uli, maybe he'd pay a lot of mind to be like, let me make sure this doesn't say SL anywhere before I engage with any piece of property.
I don't like, would you pick up on her vibe? Her vibe says, I'm annoyed, I'm irritated, like, don't touch my stuff. He knows that she is particular about her stuff. And so the fact that she's not saying something, like, okay, if she made a big stink, I think that would have been worse. Just for her position in the game, like, it just might have made her look a little bit more unreasonable. And so she's trying to be like, hey, don't do that, I hate it. And he's not really picking up on it. So I don't think she should have made a big stink. I think that he should have picked up on the clues that it's not the person to mess around with, because she will get you voted off the island if she can, because you touched her stuff.
She said, don't touch my stuff. Like, she clearly communicated what she needed. If she needed to be like yelling behind that, then yes, I agree. That's like a listening issue, not a communication issue.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, you have to meet him sort of at his level. And I'm not sure, unless maybe, what if you started using his stuff? What if you try to do a little bit of like, see how it feels for you? I'm wearing your clothes. Like when Joey wore Chandler's clothes without any underwear on Friends.
Okay, I like where you're going with this. I do think though, maybe it's like putting it in terms that he can understand, right? What did we learn in this episode? We learned that they like to talk about Pokemon. Jawan loves Pokemon. He loves some specific Pokemon.
What if I took your Pikachu?
How would you feel if I walked up and I stole your Bulbasaur? Like, how are you gonna feel about that? Right? You wouldn't like that.
I don't know how he feels about Bulbasaur. He'd be like, yeah, man, that's fire. Take that. I mean, that's literally fine. Grass, but take it away. Take that grass away. I only want fire. Well, we got to go to the other side of the pettiness coin here. We got to talk about maybe one of the most fun things of this episode, if not the first 5 episodes, which is Sage versus Shannon. I mean, I gotta start actually with, and I know Rob did this before when he was talking with the incredible Star to me, but like, I'm sorry. One of the things that Shannon says requires a bit of sentence diagramming here. Can we go back to the goats get high on hay, Jesus got
Yep.
high on God for a second?
And goats
Because
get high on AstroTurf.
exactly, because I mean, I don't want to pick it apart beat for beat because, like you said, Liana, starvation, heat, etc. However, it is such a unique phrase that assumes
Mhm.
so many things that I do not think are real.
Okay, let's do it. Let's break it down.
Okay, so let's start with the first half of the sentence here because I'm no biologist. I'm no zoologist. I'm barely an ologist of anything. However, goats getting high off hay, I think, is already a bit of a big leap you're making. Now, maybe we're not taking from the literal variety here, the hallucinogenic variety. I think we're talking more so of like, ooh, we're having a hay party. But I don't know if there's been any sort of scientific evidence to merit the fact that like goats are really jonesing for some hay. You know, I don't think I've ever heard of goats eating hay in my life.
I mean, goats will eat pretty much anything. Like, I get those videos on my social media accounts where they just bring in goats to like clean up vegetation and areas. They don't seem to be like particularly picky when it comes to their food preferences.
Huh. Well, I'm wondering if hay in general has some sort of chemical in it that like, like was it tryptophan that's in turkey, or you know what I mean? Like maybe there's something in the hay that allows the goat to get a little buzz. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I did Google it and it does say goats need and love hay.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
primary source of nutrition and is essential for their digestive health.
Oh.
Well, now now my corollary is how the hell does Shannon know that? Because
She probably does like goat yoga.
that could be the case. And then when she's just like in a hay barn, they like dives into a hay bale, and that's where the goats just come to naturally jump on her because she grew up famously, right, in the inner city of Boston. Parents own a sports bar. Like, not entirely sure how many goats she's interacted with her life. Okay, so I guess there is scientific merit behind it. I will take the L. There.
She should have used alfalfa. Apparently goats love alfalfa the most.
I'm more of a spanky guy myself, but I'll take alfalfa.
I love alfalfa.
Let's talk about the other little rascal in this sentence, which is Jesus got high off God. Now, look, I am not one to, disparage any particular set of beliefs. I'm not questioning the veracity of the statement. It's more so the choice of words. Because again, there's two different ways we could look at this. There is the more metaphysical variety, to Chantel's point, or is the more like, hey, they're just having a great time, getting high off of God, high on life. That guy is that man's dad. Would you feel weird if you said, I'm getting high off my dad? Unless there's some sort of stipulation in a cremation, order. I don't think that's actually it's just a weird phrase to say. Jesus got high off his dad.
I feel like I'm taking the SATs or like the LSATs or something where I'm like trying to work through these logical phrases. So I think it really, I think to answer the God part, I think you do have to go back to the goat part, right? Because I think we need to define what we mean by goats getting high off hay, because I think that will inform what she means with the second part of the statement. Because if we're talking about high, so I think, and if let's just assume it's high as like they're excited about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm high on that. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so high on that. I love that. That's good. That's fire, as they would say.
Yeah. Do Gen Z people say I'm getting high on that?
No, she said fire.
I'm high on that. Wait. Well, it's not. I'm getting high on hay. It's they're high on hay.
No, it's goats get high on hay. Jesus got
high on hay.
Jesus got high on God is the phrase.
Okay, what if it's get high as in an elevation? Like they climb on top
like
of the hay.
A hay bale.
They climb on the hay bales.
Okay.
So then in terms of the second statement, it's like you're standing on the shoulders of your father.
Of God?
Getting high on God.
Okay, I could see that. I mean, it's enough of a weird oddball statement to be like, yes, son, piggyback, get high on me. Like, it's just, if you heard someone say that, on the street, you turn the other way.
I'm just expecting, I'm ready to you to turn around and go to Asher and be like, time to get high on dad.
Like, maybe I'll try that.
What?
I don't know. That's the thing, is that it's just a weird turn of phraseology, but it was rattled off. It's such a casual way, both in the edit and by Shannon herself, that you, at least if I were on the island, would take a pause and be like, is my brain really addled on Pete, or did she say that Jesus got high on God?
Jesus gets high on God.
I definitely think it's God as a concept, as opposed to as a father figure. But like, it's kind of like God is like a spiritual feeling of being lifted, being enlightened, and so I think the high on God is like potentially could be the elevation of spirit and how you feel about yourself.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
See, I like that interpretation too. But then let's go back to the goats. So then our goats enlightened. That's why
this is really where it all falls apart. Is why do you say both in the same sentence?
Exactly. The logic must apply to both. Based on the way the sentence is structured.
That's exactly it. Really, she fell into the trap the minute she goats. But let's talk about perhaps the trap Shannon might find herself in here, because she is high, I suppose, on strategizing. She says that that is the love language of Survivor players, but it certainly is not the love language of the person that she was closest to going into this swap. But this does serve, one person's folly is another person's frustration. And we got some very fun frustration from Sage, who, really is sort of like if Carolyn if they were doing a reboot of Survivor 44 and they couldn't pay enough money to bring on Carolyn, they're like, all right, this one looks it's the Liam Hemsworth in The Witcher of Survivor 44. Of like, oh, we could bring her on. I think people would understand she's the essence of Carolyn, even if she's not the real McCoy.
I feel like we were promised more from this duo this episode, and then to know that like we're gonna I don't think that they're together on their, if it's a new 3-tribe thing that's might be happening next, but like I wanted to see this kind of blow up a little bit more. I wanted to see the battle be happening, because Shannon has no idea that Sage is like coming for her, and so I would have liked to see that play out a little bit more, because it's definitely very fun seeing Sage talk about Shannon behind her back. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. I have two thoughts about this. So the first is that it was just funny to see like Jason not play the like lack of survival skills to Shannon's over intense survival skills. It just demonstrates to you how hard the game of Survivor is, that you can't just take one rule and play with it, right? Because Shannon was playing too hard, which is what turned people off of her, which then allows Sage, the moment when I think, was it Jason or was it Steven and MC that are
Steven
coming
and
around?
Alex. Yeah, who
Steven
come
and
around.
Alex, yes, that are coming back to camp, and Sage is like, oh, you guys are leaving me out, and then they have to talk about like Shannon, right? And she's just like, oh my god, you see it too, thank god. It was just, it's the same thing with Savannah gossiping and like complaining about Jawan. It's like that moment you finally realize that like everybody else hates the same person you do, and it's such a good feeling, and you get to gossip about it, and it's so like, it's such a wonderful relief. Like the joy I felt for her in that moment of finally getting to talk about like her feelings towards Shannon. Beautiful.
Well,
I love it.
because also, right, the narrative that she had built up in her head was that she's essentially, the main character in They Live, where like she's wearing the glasses, right, and she's the only one that sees, right? It's the shark with the seal mask? I think is the analogy that she used, which like, it's sort of only slightly adjacent to Goats Get High Off Hay. She just gets high off God, and like, what aquarium have you been to, ma'am? Maybe you need to visit more of them. But yeah, she's like, I don't understand. Everyone's falling for it. I'm the only one that sees it. And have them be like, yeah, she's doing too much. So she's like, no. So, like, again, she wears her emotions on her face. That is the makings of an incredible reality TV character, an incredibly giftable reality TV character, especially when it is done from my perspective, authentically, looking at you, Ava Pearl. I do not think Sage is necessarily the one to be aura farming, but she has a very fun aura, especially when, we love this all the time, right? In these types of shows where oh my god, yes, I'm having so much fun together, Shannon. Oh, poop pee, poop 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 pee pee, barf, pimples in a jar. And then as soon as she hugs, like, I'm gonna fucking slit your throat in the middle of the night and my way with you.
I will kill her.
I need more. I need more. I hope that one of them doesn't get voted out, so at least we get more of them at the merge.
See, that's the thing, is that on the one hand, right, you'd be like, okay, this has to be building up to something. And like, I did a little bit of Nancy Drewing that next time on, and I think they might be on the same tribe. I think. On the other hand, Say and Mary, right? This was an idea that we had built up so much in the pre-merge, and then nothing happened with it. Mary wasn't even on the same group as Say when she was voted out. So there's a good chance that it might not come to fruition, or it might be used as an excuse, even if Sage is in abstention, to be like, well, Sage was saying all of these things, and so let's vote Shannon off here. But I agree. To unfortunately Sage's chagrin, I need to keep them together in this third iteration of the tribes. I need Sage to play the entire pre-merge with Shannon just to have this resentment build to a fever pitch.
Yeah, we can only dream, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if they were on separate tribes and like let's say Shannon goes, like just the reaction from Sage when the tribes come back, like that will be worth like there will be moments that will be joyous, but I do feel like there were a lot of clips of them together. So either those clips were before the swap or the like in the next time on or they do end up together, which would be absolutely lovely. That would just be so fabulous because I just feel like that's what's been living rent free in Sage's mind, and so for her to be able to close that chapter at some point would be beautiful.
Well, before we close this chapter and move on to our usual B&B stuff, I did want to talk about the journey for a second. Because like, I will say something that's really working for me on Survivor 49 are the journeys. And look, I could see to a certain extent people talking about like, okay, what did we just watch? Nobody got an advantage. They just did manual labor for 10 to 15 minutes. But I think for me, my own bar for what I want from journeys is at a fairly low level where I just want cross-tribal mingling. You know, I don't like the journeys where it's like you run into somebody on the subway platform that's like, hey, good seeing you. Well, I'm going on the G and you're going on the N, so I'll see you later, right? Where like they barely talk with each other and then they go off in their separate directions. I want to see them, especially people that haven't met before. You want to see them mix. You want to see them maybe form antipathy or empathy and sympathy towards each other and possibly let that germinate down the line. And we saw that to a certain extent. Obviously didn't pan out with the three guys in episode 2, right? Because Jake leaves the episode after. Matt tries to work with Juwan, but clearly that was barking up the wrong tree. But here with the Nate and MC thing, not only does it allow, Nate an opportunity to get to know this person, but this was such a fun sequence for Nate. I mean, obviously very inspiring from MC as well, talking about her own body image issues and showcasing that, like, hell yeah, she's an absolute powerhouse when it comes to this. But, like, Nate doing the producer thing, which is very much like, I'm going to low-key manipulate this situation to get what I want, but without making it overtly seem like I'm doing so and not have you mad at me, was so much fun. Like, honestly, this is going to be odd to say. I've loved talking with Nate. He might be my favorite character of the show so far.
Yeah, that's fun. I've been really liking Nate as well. I mean, I have to feel a little bit for MC because, like, if I'm doing manual labor and I'm out of breath, the last thing that I want to do is talk. Like, I remember one time people convinced me to climb a mountain, and like, it's like those big like stairs, and like you're going up for like hours, and they're like, motivate me. Come on, you can do it. Come on, Chantele. And I'm just like, shut up. I need to concentrate on one foot after another. So she's better than me because I just be like, Nate, I know we're supposed to be getting to know each other here and I appreciate you making this effort, but I mean, like, you're gonna have to shut up because this sucks. So, I wouldn't be able to do it, but I appreciate that they were able to get that dynamic flowing.
Yeah, I think from like the structure of the journey, I think it did give them a potential opportunity to talk, but that was only because Nate took advantage of the situation, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah,
I completely agree. Like if I was out there carrying bags, I'm not chit-chatting. I'm just like, oh, I gotta carry stupid freaking bags. It's so heavy, right? So like, I would not be focusing on that. I probably wouldn't even think of that. But I think then that's where I want to give Nate credit for being like, how do I take advantage of this situation for me, knowing that I am, can carry the sandbags, but am definitely not going to out beast MC. Like there's absolutely no way. So, and I also love the fact, like, so there were multiple decisions that he makes, right? So the
Yes.
first is the chatting, the conversation, the relationship building. Love it. The second piece is when they find the second note, right? That, oh, hey, how do we do this in a way that actually benefits has the likelihood of benefiting both of us. Like he recognizes that MC is, or at least he is able to take advantage of the fact that MC is like a collaborative player and was willing to be risk averse in the sense of let's set themselves up so that at least they don't both lose their vote. Because there's a universe where MC just takes off into the jungle. Like if
Yep.
MC is like, I can beat this man, his bags are on his own, because I'm pretty sure, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, if she goes out and just finds the advantage, she gets her vote, right? No matter
That
what,
is
whether or not
correct,
the
yeah.
sandbags.
Yeah, the note specifically said the person who finds the advantage gets to keep their vote, and the other person has to finish it all on their own, and their vote is the only one that's at risk.
Yeah, exactly. So if MC had recognized, like, I can beat this man, right, she could have just taken off. She didn't even have to call him back over to be like, hey, I found this thing. We need to read it together. She could have just
gotten on a boat and taken off.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I do think like if I were in MC's position, I would, even if I did have the physical upper hand, I would still probably do the same thing. That's because I'm a more conservative player. So I don't like begrudge MC's decision to not just bolt off into the jungle. Like I get it. I get why she made the decision that she did. But anyway, so to go back to Nate's choices. So one was the social, second was the getting most of the bags done, and then the third was the hey, Sansa must up. Yeah, Sansa was gone. It reminds me.
It was a little premature, though.
This much sand left. It reminds me of my mom used to do this trick when we were at the pool because I loved swimming at the pool. And she would go, okay, Liana, do you want to leave the pool in 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Which didn't really give, it was like, we're leaving the pool. It's just however long like you want to do. So it felt a little bit like that where Nate was like, okay, MC, like, so do you want to come back here in 1 minute or 2 minutes? So, like, you don't have the choice to keep looking. So I thought that was also very strategic from him. I loved it. I think it's very like subtle, but incredibly critical and important gameplay. And it's just so fun to see play out. Like that may have been one of my favorite segments from the season so far.
Honestly, I think he also took a lot of advantage from the fact of how gassed they were, right? Because you would think on the one hand, if I'm MC and I go out there and I see so much time left and it's like, okay, there was one bag left, so like, yeah, I might as well take off again and try to look to the best of my ability. But because she was just so taxed, like, I think it would have taken a lot from her to go back out there in the first place. So honestly, he was able to kind of win through resignation, right? This idea of like, I'm just so tired at this point. You know what? I'm here. Let's do it. You know, there is, as annoying as it might be sometimes, like there is a lot of strategic merit in just wearing somebody down. And that was another good advantage of the, hey, MC, let's keep doing these bags until there's only one left. And then we'll look, because at this point, A, if you really impugn your own searching skills that much, then like, okay, then at least maybe you even the field a little bit more. And B, you exhaust MC as well to the point. And maybe that was another thing about the talking too, where it's like, yes, it's a way to get to know her, but also like she's using a lot more breath that way. And so if she has to go hunt for something, like, great, she's going to be a lot more fatigued. And that's either going to help me find something or be able to have me convince her, you're too tired. You don't want to go out and look for an advantage at this point. Come on, let's chill on the beach. I'll talk to you more about my pink hair and my lip piercing.
Now, why don't you think that he just like did maybe like a light look? Like he just didn't, from what I saw anyways, or remember, he didn't do any looking at all. Do you think because he didn't want people to think that he looked so that he could say that like, I didn't have anything to do with an advantage? Like I would have liked him to maybe just kind of maybe look at the, nearby area maybe a little bit.
I'm sure he did. I think the issue with Nate, unfortunately, is that it's a bit of a self-defeating prophecy for him. I think that as someone who has spent, 40-something years on this planet, he's like, if I know one thing, it's that I can't find shit. And so, like, maybe there is a little bit of like, I'm not going to look that hard because I'm not going to find it anyway. Why am I going to expend all this energy doing so? Which, like, on the one hand, might be bad if his back is ever against the wall and he has to look for something. On the other hand, has now worked for him, maybe not twice, because again, it'd be nice for him to have the idol instead of Rizzo. Though again, he's like, hey, I don't like going on a journey because it puts a target on your back. So like, again, this is despite the subtle manipulation he's doing, this is Mr. Old School Survivor, right? He came into the game wanting to feel this way, and he's continuing to do so even a week and change into the game.
Yeah, I think there was one B-roll shot of him like digging through the bush, but yeah, I think like he had said a couple episodes ago, I'm bad at looking for things and the rest of my tribe is bad at looking for things. So like he recognizes that about himself. Also, shout out to Jawan for stacking the rocks to
Oh.
ensure that Nate would go on the journey. Like we got to give the assist to Jawan.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, listen, reheating Lauren from Survivor 44's nachos a little bit in terms of rigging the draw. And like, if you're Jason, can you do anything? Could you be like, no, I want to do the rocks? And then you get probably outvoted there. Or I don't know, did the two of you wrestle for rocks at a certain point?
Yeah.
I wonder what would have happened if Jason actually did go on the journey. Like, how would that be all different? Would he see the note and just take off into the forest to try to find?
I mean, if it was him and MC though, I mean, he could very easily.
Oh
be
yeah,
like,
they're
hey,
friends.
hey, MC, if you find this,
I need
give
help.
it to me.
I need help. Right, I need help.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm in danger. I will go home tonight. I need this advantage. Like let's look together. You give it to me, and then I'll help you finish the sandbags or something like that. Right? Like that's when you have two alliance members coming together, you can play the game a little bit differently.
But it also makes me wonder, though, at the challenge, if the new Kella group didn't think of throwing it more, because like you see Matt's voted out, right? Maybe it's just because they had certain feelings towards Matt. They're like, it's fine. We don't want to work with him down the line. But like, if you felt a certain way about Jason, maybe you would consider throwing it. I do have a thought, though. Could it all come down to the allure of the chickens? Could it be that the reward was worth playing for so much that they're like, shit, we can't lose out on those chickens. We can't lose out on traumatizing ourselves by having to murder these things.
Jason, murder a chicken. Jason, murder a chicken.
I mean, I really don't think the chicken is a good reward. Like, I get it, you want to have some meat, you're starving, et cetera, but like to have to put yourself through killing the chicken, pulling out all the feathers out of the chicken, like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it just wouldn't be my idea of a reward. And yeah, like this, what about the Sia of it all? I know Sia doesn't do the whole give the award to people anymore or the money to people, but the reason why she was doing that was because what's his name? Ty? He was saving the chickens and like she appreciated that. And so I don't know. I'm not sure why they brought back this chicken thing. And I feel bad that they had to go through killing it as a reward. Like murder for reward. It's weird.
I mean, I will give you the reason why they brought it back as a reward, and it's Survivor 47. If you remember, it was that the Gotcha tribe, the Sam and Andy and Rachel tribe got the chickens, and then none of them wanted to kill it, so they brought the chickens back, and they're like, can we trade? Can we give these back? Like, I think they saw some entertainment value in that. Plus, there is some personal content in the form of Alex being like, I'm a man now. I killed that chicken with my bare hands. Look at me, bros. So, like, I think that there was, and it's also classic Survivor stuff, right? I mean, one of the most infamous arguments in Survivor history came from a thing around the chickens with Kimmy, with Alicia. So it just feels like that element that keeps existing evermore. Sia is done. See ya later, Sia.
Yeah,
we welcome slaughtering into Survivor once more. It's back, baby.
Yeah, I was the only thing I felt like was missing was Sophie's opinion on the reward because I feel like she poo-pooed the fruit so badly. I'm like,
probably after she ate it too. Yeah, she poo-pooed a lot.
She put, I mean, all that fiber. Like, it's like, hey, does the chicken interest you, Sophie? Is this a reward worth playing for? I do think, like, I don't know, maybe she just didn't say anything interesting, but I think that would be like a very funny through line joke, which is for Jeff to always go to Sophie to be like, and does this interest you?
How about this?
Is this anything?
Yeah, what do you think about this? So I'm gonna assume she was on board for the chicken. So then I think yes, it would have been a very valuable reward.
Yeah, this actually did provide a very unintentionally funny moment from Steven, right, where the two guys are bonding, and I would say like clock this relationship because like the two of them were talking strategy earlier in the episode. They were bonded in poultry blood, I suppose, with the fact that they were the ones that were outfitted to kill the chicken. But then like Alex being like, have you had to kill anything? And Steven starts by saying, well, my roommate's dog. It's like, oh my God. Realized we were working with a flat out sociopath.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That was such a funny moment. I think it was Steven who gave the confessional too, which actually, Chantele, goes back to your point about this maybe not being such a great reward. But he was like, here's some farm chores. Which I did like that as well. That was very funny.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. Of him calling it an anti-reward. I think of like your reward is actually doing more work. But yeah, just the thought of like, imagine if Steven was like, yeah, who's everyone's favorite player? Mine's Brian Heidick. It's like, oh my God, who is this man? Who are we sending up into space?
Yeah, every once in a while, the little like info dribbles out that we learn more and more about Steven. I mean, he went to Heritage, so we all knew.
I was gonna say Liana's like not beating the allocation.
I was like, I've been new, okay.
If you were doing attack ads for him somehow, you'd take that one clip out of context of like Steven Ram.
Steven Ram killed his friend's dog. Yeah, exactly. Look, the Arapaho Heritage high school rivalry goes deep, okay?
Well, let's see how deep we thought Jason would go in this game, shall we? Because Jason, obviously, incredibly unique situation, brought in as an alternate, one of two, 12 hours before the game began. Would he last 12 days in Survivor or perhaps more? Liana, how'd you think Jason was going to do? What was your verdict on the law clerk in this season?
Yeah. Yes. So I did have Jason making the jury. I said that Jason formed early bonds with Steven and Sophie as game sharks, bringing in MC as their fourth and his alternate buddy. This group ran Hina pre-merge and was able to direct a few votes post-merge. However, the tide turns on this powerhouse and they become the number one target. Jason is able to survive the first hit on the Hina 4 by subtly downplaying his threat level, but he couldn't hit the NOS fast enough and was not so lucky the second time around. I said that Jason would win one individual immunity challenge and shouts out Ruth Bader Ginsburg in his winning confessional. His ally was Steven and MC, and his enemy was Savannah.
I would allow that only if he did Ruth Conda forever.
Oh my God, imagine.
Interesting. I guess I talked with him about Fast and the Furious. Maybe he talked about playing the game 1/4 mile at a time, because I'd imagine the NOS mention did not come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I got confused as to why I wrote that. So I did go back and I look at the notes that I took from your preseason interview, and either he said it or I made it up as a consequence of looking or of listening to that. So yeah, it was involved somewhere. It didn't just come completely out of nowhere.
All right. Liana might have just added. I thought she would have outed herself as a big Fast and Furious fan, but she's just copying what Jason said.
I am. But yes, it was about, okay, I just went back to check. It was about Rachel playing her shot in the dark as a litmus test that she had subtle and social capital, and then she hit the NOS. So yeah.
Cars get high off NOS.
Goats get high off A.
Well, I don't say, actually. Chantele might have to do a bit of splitting hairs here, because I was not too dissimilar from my thoughts on Jason in the preseason. I also had Jason making the jury. So here's what I wrote. Jason's anxieties about being a last-minute addition to the cast are immediately erased when he becomes the puzzle king of the season. His skills have the Super Smash Brothers player going from alt to main on the dominant Hina tribe. Jason will then get a personal segment in the early episodes talking about how his othering coming into the game mirrored his life in general and how he has succeeded in spite of that. Jason and MC immediately link up around their shared unprecedented level experience. What does that even mean? And they bring in fellow former alternate Sophie S to become the Control-Alt-Delete Alliance. And indeed, during their limited times at Tribal Council, the trio of alts control the tribe and easily delete the outsiders from the game. When one of his allies acquires a vote steal from a journey, Jason uses it to its greatest extent, helping cement a majority and power position for Hina going into the jury. However, as one of the most outward-facing strategic presences on the season, he is perceived as the brains behind the operation. It even encourages some friendly fire, as MC and Sophie talk about how he's too dangerous to take to the final three, especially as a wannabe lawyer. As a result, Jason is poured out of the game like acid from a vat, but the Ruth Bader Ginsburg stan is more than happy to serve on the Survivor 49 Supreme Court. His closest ally was MC, and his enemy was MC and Sophie.
Lord.
Interesting.
They're very, well, not similar, but obviously have some pieces.
The bones are there.
Yeah.
Good
Oh.
bone replacement.
I don't know if it's just recent because I just heard it recently, but I'm really kind of into you naming this Control Alt Delete alliance.
I'm
I love it. It's so good.
Someone in the comments on our cast post did suggest something like it, so I did take it and run with it. I just want to give credit where credit's due.
But still, even bringing it to me, you know, like I feel like the fact that you brought it into your prediction, I kind of had to give credit to because it's so good that like you're gonna like it's yeah. It
I love this, like the exact opposite of killing the messenger. Thank you, person in the comments.
No, it's great. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chantele.
No. I'm just like just reiterating, like the fact that you brought that in, it just elevated it and just made it really, really fun. And I'm like, oh, nobody's ever used that before. Oh, I like Control. Like it got me really excited about Control Alt Delete Alliance, and so it took me to the win for me.
That needs to like I love the added layer because obviously of the alternates, but I would love like that is a amazing Big Brother Alliance name. Like,
oh my god,
because you're eliminating people, so it's like, what do we call ourselves? Control Alt Delete.
And you can even go full brigade and be like, okay, you're Control, you're Alt, you're Delete.
And I think you could do it as a 3-person alliance, right? But also, I think that in Big Brother, you could just have it be like, because you need like 10 fingers, I don't know, whatever, as you're typing on the keyboard. Like you could justify. You don't have to be like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you need 10 fingers to type on the keyboard. So
you don't need 10. We don't need 10 fingers, but like the idea is that like somebody's gonna click the mouse. So
someone's gotta click the mouse.
Someone's gonna click the mouse. Well, just because you don't want to be like a numbered alliance, right? Per se in Big Brother. So, but Control Alt Delete's badass. I love that. If I'm ever on Big Brother, I'm using that. I'm stealing it.
All right, listen, you can use me for credit, and I'll subsequently use the commenter for credit.
Yes, exactly.
Let's Mandela effect this. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe Mike Bloom came up with this on his own.
Exactly. That's the timeline I remember.
That's how academic citations work. Like I cite the last paper, and then the last paper cites the paper before it, and then you have to go back like 20 years before you actually find the original paper that it was the findings. So yeah, it's normal.
Well, let's talk about perhaps some original fashion choices here, because there's been some notable looks, maybe not some like notable strategies, but there's been a lot of looks to look at in the course of Survivor 49 so far. And so calls the time for one of our favorite segments here on the B&B every season. Buff or Snuff, we will review a select number of castaway looks throughout their time on the island to determine if we are buffing it or snuffing it. And I'm here with two paragons of style, so I'm very excited to get into this. Now, admittedly, a lot of this particular version of Buff or Snuff is going to be focused around one particular person. So, Chantele, I'm going to give you the choice here. Would you rather begin with everything focused around this one particular person, or would you rather end with that and focus on sort of the more singular stuff first?
Let's do singular and then end with the pylon.
I like it. So let me start getting into all this stuff, which of course you could check out the full album if you are not on the YouTube version of this over at bit.ly/bufforsnuff49. So let's start with a couple of tribal council looks that I'm very excited to get into. This is one that I've been waiting to discuss for a while, so I'm really excited to get your thoughts on Jawan's overalls. He's worn these a few times. Now, what I find most interesting about this is that I wouldn't call his undershirt flesh-colored, but, like, if you look far enough away, it does kind of look like he's going, like, full Ralph Kaiser from Redemption Island and, like, not wearing anything underneath his overalls. Chantele, what are your thoughts about overalls on Survivor in general, let alone Jawan rocking them, or not so much?
I never even noticed that he was wearing overalls, so thank you for bringing this to my attention. I feel like it has purpose because they usually have a lot of pockets, and so if there's any idol searching or whatnot, or finding more firewood and twigs. Like he can maybe put things in his pocket. So I do think for functionality, I think an overall is a pretty good choice. I think though for the heat, it's kind of hot and heavy. So I feel like you'd be kind of sweating underneath those overalls. And so I don't know, functionality, yes, but like actually for your like physiological experience, I think it might be kind of uncomfortable. And if it gets wet, like wet overalls, hot wet overalls, it just seems like a bad idea. So I'm gonna say probably a just because I would not want to have one of my items of clothing be heavy wet overalls. That would just probably take forever. They probably would never be dry.
Yeah.
Right? Gross.
If they're like actual denim. Yeah. Maybe if they're like a jegging kind of material, maybe that's like the way around it. I here's what I do like about the overalls. I like the fact that like as you're on Survivor and you lose weight, you don't have to worry about the waist, right? Because your pants could become loose, so you can't wear them anymore. You got the straps, right? Like your shoulders aren't going anywhere, hopefully. So those are going to hold up your pants the entire time you're there. So I like it also from a practical perspective. Also, they're not going to be going to the bathroom as much. And that is my biggest complaint with overalls. Because if I have to like, I got to like take, you have to like undress if you're going to go to the bathroom.
Naked, like squatting behind a tree.
Exactly.
I was going to ask if we know if there's a pee hole.
Is there a butt flap on these overalls, Jawan? Let us know.
Yeah, exactly. That could change. Well, I mean, if he's doing the aqua dump, you don't want to get him wet, right? Like,
that's
also, so I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to take into consideration. I do think that blue collar is like it's back in, right? Like, let's go trades. So I would say I would give this a buff, but but practically there's like a lot of pros, but also a ton of cons, as Chantele pointed out.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Again, the unintentional thievery is once again completely unconscious. But to contest my earlier point, if you want to disincentivize someone from taking your own property, would Savannah want to get into thick, wet denim at any point? So it's like, ha ha ha, I'm wearing clothes that's completely inconvenient for me to wear so that you don't wear it. Could also be something as well. You won't get an Angelina jacket situation too, of like no one's asking Jawan for his overalls when he is voted out.
Wait, imagine he gets voted out and they're asking for his overalls and he has to like unhook, strip off, and completely take off his pants and walk up there in his like underwear and boxers.
I love it.
That would be amazing.
If he's wearing any, right? Because don't some people not wear anything underneath overalls? Like I don't know. I've never worn that type of overall before. So I'm not sure about like the underwear choices.
Logistics.
Yeah. I'm gonna buff this as well. Like it feels like a very cute look, and I agree, Liana. It like invokes a trades aspect, which like Jawan is not, right? Like this dude is a VFX editor, but I think he's trying to provide this image of like, hey, I'm just this really fun kid, right? I'm dressing like I'm from the 90s, or I'm dressing like I'm going to preschool. And everyone's like, oh my God. But I think, that might become an issue when they feel like he's so immature that he's just taking things that don't necessarily belong to him. But I think overall, it is a good look. So I will give it the buff. And I think Jawan wears it well, too. Again, maybe it's also the optical illusion of the flesh-colored shirt making me feel like he's not wearing anything underneath it. So I'll keep riding that until I'm proven otherwise.
I'm wondering though too, like, do you think he watched maybe season 6 of Love Island with how Rob was always wearing like the overalls with no shirt underneath? He was getting all the ladies. He's the snake charmer, and I think maybe he wanted to make people endeared to him as well as like, emulating this look that Rob had that was so popular.
Well, maybe Jawan's on Traders next. Who knows?
And maybe he's like, listen, I heard what's going on, so let me make sure that I jump in on there. There's a direct corollary between overalls and Traders cast members.
I would like to see, actually, maybe you guys even know, there's been a lot of players on Survivor that have been overall wearers. I can only think of Tom. That's the only person I can think of. Big Tom. But like, has there been, is this like the first resurgence of overalls on the show?
No, because I actually remember very specifically, Liana, remember you and I talked about Shan's Luigi look, where she had the overalls and the green shirt in 41. That's the one that I remember most recently.
That's right. Yeah. So maybe it's more common than we think. Carolyn had overalls.
Oh, she did. Yeah, I forget she had purple overalls.
Shan. Who else? Mariah had overalls.
Oh yeah, can't jump Mariah.
Yep, can't jump Mariah had overalls.
I feel so bad at that.
I think
Out.
Is Kelly Nalbandian wearing overalls?
Oh, she might be. There's also sort of like there's like the heavy denim overalls, and there's a type that like Angela loves to wear that's like more of a fabricy. Technically, it's overalls because there are the straps, but it's more of like a spaghetti strap and fabricy instead of denim.
That's what Kelly's wearing. Camilla also is wearing overalls. But also kind of a little bit of the looks like the lighter fabric, whereas Mariah's look like the heavy. Mariah can't jump or the heavier denim ones. Similar with Carolyn's look like the heavier denim ones.
Are we
so yeah, okay.
Are we low-key getting overalls every season in Survivor US?
Yeah, we're just not paying attention. This is our fault.
Well, let's go ahead, Chantele.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I wonder though with like how overalls are coming in, because most people don't, like, a majority of people don't wear overalls in this kind of style or whatever in their regular life. And I just kind of was thinking of like when I work as a flight attendant, I'm doing like a layover, the stuff that I pack in my bag to wear on layovers, I never wear at home. And so I'm wondering if it's like a similar thing with like, you're bringing out the clothes or you're purchasing the clothes that you would never actually wear in your real life, but it's to have like your statement pieces on Survivor. Cause like, I just don't know if I see Juwan as the overall wearing guy, like in his regular day to day. So
it's a good point that they talk about, hey, when you go out to Fiji, you shouldn't wear clothes that you really treasure. And so he's like, oh yeah, I don't want to spend money on stuff. So like, here's some overalls that have been burning a hole in my closet. Hopefully I don't burn a hole in them by leaving them near the fire to dry. All right. Well, we invoked her beforehand. We couldn't get her thoughts on the chickens, but I want to get your thoughts, Liana, on Sophie S deciding to be the hat she wishes to see in the world. I don't know if you saw this. There's a couple of spare shots, but just to describe it to people out there, because Christina wore this as well when they were picking who to go on the journey. Sophie has taken a couple of big-ass leaves and kind of like banded them to her head via her buff to create sort of her own version of a ball cap.
I love this. I absolutely love this. This is 100% like one of the biggest. I can't go outside in the sun without sunglasses. Like I just can't. It hurts my brain. Like, so for me, this would be me out on Survivor with a leaf strapped to my head. So look, is it a bit ugly? Sure. But I don't even care. From a practical perspective, this is a 10 out of 10. I absolutely buff this. I love it.
I think one of my favorite things about it, Chantele, is the fact that because it is so green and because of the point, it actually reminds me a lot of like a Robin Hood type of hat, right? Like some of those medieval feathers in your caps. You could probably find a feather a la Philip Shepherd and put it in there. And then like Robin Hood has this very great mentality, right? Steal from the rich, give to the poor. So if he's like, listen, I'm going to help you all out here. I'm dressed like Robin Hood and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to rob from the Ulis and give to the Hyenas.
I mean, I'm with Liana here. I love this hat. And for me, I'm also a person that can't be out in the sun without shade. I don't wear shades necessarily because I need reading glasses and I feel like I can't see or read things when I'm wearing sunglasses. So I would definitely be trying to find something to shade. I think this is inventive. It's not the prettiest, I agree, but I wouldn't care when I'm like hot in this blazing sun. Yeah. I was at like an engagement party, or sorry, like a bachelorette party, and we were out in the backyard. Like we rented this big cottage, and we're in the backyard, and there was no shade anywhere. So we were all like we were all making things for shade, and so I feel for her because like I understand how you could be craving shade. We were like hiding under ledges and like like any little bit of shade. I think this is ingenious. It's very practical, and I would be doing something very similar. So I'm into this one.
Well, I know that we are certainly past the era of providing sunglasses on Survivor. Our friend, mentor, boss, Rob Sister, of course, rocked them on Survivor the Amazon. So what if instead of these trivial food rewards, instead they give away like Survivor caps? Or sunglasses? That would be worth playing for. I think Sophie herself even though she's been able to MacGyver some stuff, she would certainly compete the hardest she could if it meant she got to wear some Ray-Bans on the island.
Oh, I mean, I'd be competing for that. You want comfort? Like a hat I would need to have a hat. But like, why can't people wear hats anymore? Is it for continuity with like shots? Like, I just don't even get why hats
I think it
really a
honestly
thing.
depends to your point about like character
Oh, your
type,
outfit?
what gets past wardrobe. It might be like a framing thing and a lighting thing too. But again, it hasn't stopped one of the freaking most famous people on the show
Well,
from wearing a ball cap or a Patriots cap every single time he's played.
Plus, not to perpetuate the capitalism of it all, given the Robin Hood comparison, but it's an opportunity for sponsorship, Survivor. So, like,
they have their own hats that you can buy on the CBS store. Just have them wear that.
For the hats, but for the sunglasses, right? Like you said, you can partner with Aviators or whatever other sunglass brands exist, and be like, wow, it's the same as Applebee's, right? It's the same idea.
What they should do is remember that idea that Jeff Probst had before COVID, where it was like, great, Survivor 41 is going to be a big trading outpost, and Rick Devens is going to pop up and sell you stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What if they just turn that into like a PacSun? And it's like, hey, you can buy some sunglasses if you want to. It costs you your vote.
No, what if Sophie actually started her own brand of Survivor hats? Like she might be onto something, being like, hey, let's make some functional like Survivor hats, like based off of this model that this prototype that she created out here in Fiji. I'd buy one.
All right. Well, let's go from one Sophie to another, shall we? Just keep everyone nice and confused. This is actually something that Sophie B has commented about on her social media as well, because fortunately we have seen her a number of times at Tribal Council every single episode, but at least the fits are fitting. Sophie's got a lot of patterns going on at this moment, but we have seen it time and time again, particularly these pants. I feel like the pattern pants are something that she talks about a lot. She has listed out, I believe, where you can get this stuff if you want to steal her look, not steal her vote. Chantele, what do you think about Sophie's tribal getup here?
I mean, I don't think I've ever. It's pants and a top, right? Like it's not like
it's pants and like a sweater.
Okay. And are they not matching though? Like, because like it seems like some of the pattern. Okay. I mean, I definitely was into the pants. Like she had like a segment about her pants and how her butt looks great in the pants. So I remember that segment. I don't remember seeing this together. But I don't mind like a pattern on pattern over like too much going on. I think I'm kind of into it, like into kind of like I don't even know. She seems like a medicine woman or somebody like a wise, I mean, like sage, a wise sage with her like, with this outfit right now. And so I'm kind of into it. I don't mind that it's multiple patterns here. I vibe with it. It seems kind of regal.
Yeah, it is a little bit like jarring initially. And for me, like I'm not a crazy pattern person, but I think for her it really works. I think also with the necklace, the buff, like it really all just like pulls the whole look together. I love the pants. I would also wear those. So those definitely a buff. And but I think the full look for me, like if I including the accessories, it's absolutely a buff.
I mean, I feel like there is something as well to like making yourself so alluring by being so distracting with your patterns, right? It's peacocking a little bit of like, hey, I've got a lot going on, both as a person and from a decor perspective, you know? My wardrobe has a lot happening behind the scenes, and so does my strategic brain. Maybe that's something that you're trying to set up to people. The sweater also looks really cozy. I'm not sure what it's made out of. That also might be something that unfortunately does not do well with the rain, though I don't believe they really have had any bad weather out there so far. I think that actually might be the issue, is that things are too hot. They're waiting for some rain to come by. And if so, I mean, God help Sophie's sweater and Jawan's overalls, because those things might immediately get tossed into the pile.
Yeah. But I know I like this one though.
Well, let's look on the sunnier side of things. Of course, the sun has been out for quite some time, as we've been mentioning, but it's been out since the beginning on Jeremiah's shirt. If you remember, this is a thing that Jeremiah rocked during his 3 episodes in the game. It's a very simple piece, but Liana, it does feel very loud to a certain extent, much like Jeremiah's laugh.
Maybe it's because Puya owns so many of these, but my hot take is I'm so over these stupid shirts.
Really?
There's like a million of like these they're button up with like a little collar, but the short sleeves and they're like cash, flowy material. They'd be perfect for Survivor. They're easily breathable and they have all these like loud patterns on them. And every single time there was an RHAP event, he's like, I gotta get more shirts. And I'm like, you own 1,000 of these shirts. Wear one of the shirts that you wore like 5 years ago. Nobody's gonna remember because they all just like blend together. Oh, so anyway, like from a personal perspective, I want to snuff this so badly because I'm so freaking sick of all these stupid shirts in our closet. But I have to admit, doesn't he just look so happy in his shirt?
I know.
He's just so happy with his sun shirt, and
little
it's
suns.
Jeremiah. So, unfortunately for Jeremiah, though, at the end of the day, I'm gonna snuff it. But I would.
It has nothing to do with you.
It has nothing to do with him. Yeah, exactly. I just want to make it clear, Jeremiah. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with my stupid husband.
What if he wanted to buy this shirt? Would you let him buy this one?
No more shirts.
No,
No more
not
shirts.
at all. Not even like Jeremiah's shirt.
No more shirts. No more Jeremiah shirts. But okay, fine. If he can get rid, because like, okay, bitches be shopping. Women have all the clothes. You know who has more clothes in this household? Him, easily. Not even close. He has an entire dresser that's just him, like for all of his stuff. So anyway,
can we just rewind an hour when Liana's like, I would never do this, but if Puya did something that I was really miffed with.
Yeah, I told you it never happens, obviously, hypothetically.
I will snuff this as well. I think for me, it's very ticky-tack. I think the suns are too big. I think for me, if I'm watching it from afar, like, yes, this is the blue tribe, and you don't need to wear like all blue all the time. I'm glad that we get a little bit of like secondary color here. But like, if I'm watching this from afar, it kind of looks like yellow polka dots.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Liana, you might have to do a deep dive. I feel like we very rarely get people wearing polka dots on Survivor. It feels like something you'd see out of the circus or a Dr. Seuss book, and that's pretty much it. Polka dots are probably one of the most niche patterns that anyone can pull off. And so because this is more so like polka dots with attitude with the spikes on them, I'm going to have to snuff it.
How do I feel? I mean, I don't mind the shirt. I don't have a feeling about it. Like, hate these types of shirts, so I to really go off of. I understand your point too. They do look like big. Like if I squint my eyes, it looks like he's wearing polka dots. I definitely don't like it when I squint my eyes. But when I see that it's like Jeremiah and it's a smiling little sun, or he's smiling in all these suns, like he looks so cheerful and happy. But the shirt isn't that cute though. It's so squinting. It's terrible when you squint. So I'm gonna have to agree with you guys. It's gonna be a snuff. But it was almost a buff, but it's still snuff.
I think the lone exception I would say could pull off a polka dot is Shawnee from Australian Survivor, but like I don't even know if that shirt counts. I'm thinking polka dots is like specific circles. Hers is more so kind of like spackled, right? It's kind of like marbleized. The iconic red and white dress.
You need polka dots with overalls. That's the next. I want to see it.
No, because then you just look like a clown. Like you might as well wear oversized overalls.
Okay, but like you were kind of alluding to this with the Robin Hood thing. We've talked about this before, where it's like your clothing can signal to other people like things about you. So maybe you want to be, maybe if you're the lawyer of the season and you're like, I don't want to come across as a clown. Right? I don't know.
Yeah, just wear like comically large pants,
shoes.
Yeah, big giant shoes.
Those would benefit as flippers in the water. That's actually not a bad idea from a functional perspective.
All right, you're the Survivor 51 contestants. Get as much clownish wardrobe as you can. That's a lesson from us to you.
Okay, what do you use the nose for? Like
hide an idol in there. Hide a beware advantage.
Hide a or a sponge to clean things. I think there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, like a scouring brush. Okay, well, I mentioned this before that one particular person is really going to be the center of this all, and she was the center of a lot of strategic talk in this episode. Let's talk about Savannah. Now, I want to start with this one because, Liana, this was one you actually brought to my attention. It is sweater weather, after all. We talked about this with Sophie, and we're going to be talking about it with Savannah as well. Now, this was seen chiefly as she was complaining about Jawan, but Liana was more so paying attention to the apparel that she was wearing. Give me your thoughts on Savannah's sweater here.
Okay, this sweater is like, this is not something I personally would wear. I can't wear a ton of patterns, but I love this. It's so cute. It's so pretty. I do think it can also suffer from the wet, heavy, like weighing down, but it just looks cozy. Like I
Mm.
just want to like curl up in it. And I think on Survivor, that would be absolutely wonderful. And I think it also just makes Savannah stand out so much. Like, obviously she's getting a ton of confessionals anyway, but when I see her in this, I'm like, bam, boom, bang. Like that is presence. That is this is charisma in a sweater, baby. Like I love it so much.
Wow, it looks so great. Leon's gone full automatopoeia.
I know. That's how much I love it.
I feel like it looks itchy. You think it looks cozy? I feel like
I think it
would
looks
be
cozy.
itchy.
Oh, maybe
It's
this is the ultimate trap
oversized.
of like, Joanne, don't you like this itchy sweater?
Ooh,
He hasn't tried to steal it yet, so maybe it isn't comfy.
true.
I do like this pattern. It kind of reminds me of, back in high school days where it was called like Inti Craft, this store, and it had like these kind of interesting knitted pattern sweaters and hats and stuff like that. So I kind of like it for me, nostalgia wise, where it just reminds me of like my youth. And it's red without just being all red.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it has other colors and other patterns in it. It does look like it might be itchy. Like I can't tell if it's like what kind of wool or whatever it is, but all in all, I think it's pretty. And if it's comfy and cozy, then it would definitely be a buff. So it's a buff for me.
Well, no matter how itchy it was, Liana was itching to talk about this. So kudos to Savannah. Now,
Nice.
Never before has someone really put the buff in Buffer Snuff more than Savannah Louie, because she has rocked a number of like headwear looks, sometimes with the buff, sometimes not, over the course of the season so far. And I think we really need to break it down copiously. So let's start with probably her most common look that I have coined the prison mic, which is this bandana that she wears over her head. We saw this a number of times across all 5 episodes. What do you think about this look, Chantele?
I mean, it looks like, it doesn't look like she's on Survivor. Like it looks like something she might actually wear in her regular life. And so I think it suits her, especially since she's kind of dictating what people are doing. Like I feel like she looks kind of like a boss, but like a casual boss. I like this look. I think it looks good on her. I think she's able to utilize, the red and the bandana around her hair, to keep her hair out of the way instead of like a regular ponytail. I'm into this look. I think she looks great.
It is really cute. I really love this look. I don't know why, like, how did she manage to get this out there? Like, I don't know. Maybe this is the overall effect where it's like I go back and I look in Survivor history, and in fact, everybody from every season has at least one person's had a bandana. But like to me, this is very surprising. I love it as like a utility item because I think not only can she style it this way, but she can also use it in a couple other ways.
Tie it around her neck if she wants to rob a train.
If she would exactly, a tourniquet if she becomes injured, if she gets bitten by a snake, right? So like,
that's oh my god! If Jake could have been saved if he was only on the tribe with the person with the bandana.
See, I know.
Jeremiah's like, how can I use my sun shirt?
Oh my gosh, that would have been so funny. So yeah, so I buff this. I love this. I think she also just looks so cute here with the jean shorts and the top. Like, I love it.
I do agree that it is interesting that they have buffs, which are sort of like a makeshift bandana, and that they chose to have her bring another one out. I mean, what's also incredibly unique is that with the bandana look, she does look like a pirate. And I don't know if you want to trust that necessarily. Now, to be fair, Jawan's the one that's been pirating her things. But it does give a little buccaneer to me.
I'm into it still. It is a little bit piratey, but she is able to like gather the troops. Like people are like, I just feel like she looks like a team player, even though she's kind of dictating what's going on. So I think, and she looks great. She's really pretty.
Yeah, I think it's I don't see as much maybe she had like some poofy sleeves or something like that. I would like lean more to the pirate look.
Or like a
I
peg
feel like
leg.
yeah, a pirate
No.
or a parrot on her shoulder, perhaps. Like I just feel like she's one accessory away from me seeing like I don't see pirate.
Yeah,
when
this
I
is
look
like, you
at
know,
this.
you're like, oh, I'm a sexy pirate for Halloween. It's like you just wear a bandana.
Yeah, a bandana and a bikini. Yeah, and you're like, I'm a sexy pirate.
All right. Well, I think we all laud this, and I love getting to also see it again and again because, like, clearly Savannah knows that it works. Let's see if this next one works maybe as well. This next look, I'm calling the double D from Ed, Ed, and Eddie, which is Savannah just kind of wearing the buff as a big old sock on her head. This is when she's talking to Jawan, by the way, about Matt being a sociopath.
Yeah. This is just like a slight point away from Coneheads, right? Like for me, this is a snuff for me. I'm sure it's practical, but like she looks like a tube. She's wearing a tube on her head. Like it's not particularly stylish.
Yeah, she's kind of dressed like a yellow crayon, Chantele.
I was more so thinking like had a condom on her head. Like I obviously
Listen,
I know
I can protect you. Look at a cut on my head.
Yes.
I bring protection.
It's not cute to me personally. I don't really love this look. I know when you're out there, you don't really care what you look like. You're just like, okay, my hair is down, it's hot, like it's functional or whatever. You're not really worried about like what you look like because there's no mirrors or whatnot. But it's just not cute. I don't love this look. I definitely will take bandana over this cone head condom vibe.
Yeah, I think for me, what's disquieting about it is the lack of visual on the hair. For me, it's like if you're hiding your hair from me, what else are you hiding? You know, so I feel that about anybody, you know. I guess maybe with guys it's more sort of ingrained just from a natural perspective because they have less hair. But yeah, look at like again, the Buff Kinnear look. Like she's got the hair flowing down. It's a fantastic, you know, pairing with the bandana. Here it's like there could be a lot in there. Your hair is full of secrets at this point.
Okay, I mean, you can see idol in there.
A little bit of it flowing out. Actually, yeah. Okay, so look, here's the thing. I think the way I feel about this is like incredibly practical, not fashionable, right? But like, yeah, you could hide. You're hiding your hair up there. You're hiding your idols up there, right? What else are you're hiding your secrets up there? So I think also like she's already an incredibly little teeny tiny human, and like her hair kind of helps to proportionalize like the rest of her body as well.
Oh yeah.
So it's giving like a little pinhead-ish, right?
You know what it's giving? It's giving like if she got shrunk down to like a super small size like Thumbelina and is like wearing a thimble for a hat, you know? It's like this feels a little too oversized.
Yeah. And I think also like it's tough because this is like I would love to see this with her OG Uli buff. Like maybe it's a color thing. Like maybe it's just because the yellow is so like bright and like stands out so crazy.
All right. Well, last but certainly not least, I have one more look for you. And the bandana, as we talked about maybe questioning how it got past production, it's because it has a lot of purposes. And so this final look I'd like to call the Elizabeth Hasselbeck. Because Savannah has taken her bandana, and you saw this a couple times during the episode, kind of like tied it into a bow somewhat and just kind of nestled in the middle of her hair.
Do I like this or do I not like this? Like, I don't even know. She looks cute. It's not super functional. She's probably just like, oh my God, let me just tie my hair up. Like, what do I got? Like, so it probably wasn't really well thought out with the whole ensemble with like her, yeah, I know it's a snuff. I don't like it. I don't like the whole thing. And I think it's because of the yellow buff. I think it's the yellow buff I don't like.
If only she got swapped onto Kella, would have been a lot better.
Yeah, if it was still red, like monochromatic red vibe going on, I think I could get behind it. But it's just like that pop of yellow that comes out just takes me out of it. And so yeah, it's a snuff.
I'm just like, how did she do that from a like how did she tie it into like? Did she take like strands and then also use the Like that's what I need to know. First of all, I actually do love this. I'm gonna personally buff it, but I want to know how to do it on myself. Like I need her to drop the
So it's
YouTube tutorial,
it's buff with a
girly.
contingent that she tells you
Yes.
expressly how to do
Yes.
it.
That's good. I love that. Buff with the contingent that she on social media, or at least to me personally, tells me exactly how to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of love the messiness of it all because maybe that also sets
Mhm.
up like, hey, I'm not all buttoned up, you know. I just kind of woke up and threw this look together. But yeah, there is something weird about kind of the highlighter yellow contrasted to it as well.
Mhm.
I think it's really tough because the bandana, like the Prison Mike look, is so good and so neat that the Goofus to the Gallant, I don't know. I'm really back and forth about this
Mm.
one. Like, I'm giving it like a buff, like go halfway through. No, you know what? I'm gonna buff it. I'm gonna buff it. I like it. It's something different too. And I see her hair. You know what? If I see your hair, you're there. That's how I always think of, if I see your hair, you're
Paris.
there. But now I'm really intrigued to see because this is only a recent look we've seen from Savannah. Like, we'll see how
Mm.
many ways she can skin a cat or defeather a chicken when it comes to how much she can use this bandana on Survivor.
Mhm. Yeah. Let's see what she can do. Our fashion icon of the season.
All right. Well, I will turn to an icon of this very podcast to finish things off. Chantele, you know how we end things here on the B&B. We give our guest a chance to highlight a charity or cause that is important to them. So please, what do you want the listeners to know about this week?
I mean, I think I've talked about it before, but it might have been a couple of years ago, but it was Plan International. They do a lot of work with young girls and empowering young women, and definitely having opportunities to, sponsor children, allowing them to have more opportunities in their life. So I would like to highlight Plan International.
Amazing. Well, Chantele, thank you so much for coming on, talking to us about this episode, offering your thoughts on not only the fashion statements of these castaways, but the people that actually wear them on their bodies. Of course, you are covering essentially all reality TV that's out there in a major capacity on the Reality Realness. But how would you like people to check it out?
I will definitely go to my YouTube channel, Reality Realness with 3 S's. Right now, I'm just doing the Traders Canada and the Challenge 41. I'm sure I'm going to bring some more things.
Has anyone run into your apartment yet to watch Traders Canada, considering Kevin Jacobs showing up on there?
No, but a girl that I fly with, her brother is on the season. So I do have a quite direct connection.
Who's her brother?
Oh God, I'm forgetting. Oh, Alexander.
Okay.
He hasn't really had that many confessionals yet, but I'm sure that it was just really funny because she'd posted like a little clip about Traders Canada, and it was just the part with Kevin, and I was like, you watched the Traders? Like, what do you? I'm like, I think I've even told her the story about my neighbor, but she doesn't watch the show, so she didn't really can make the connection. She's like, what? I'm like, my brother's on the show. I'm like, this is wild. So I do get to have a rooting interest in somebody that I literally see on a regular basis. We just did our training for this new company together, and so yeah, her brother's on the show, so that's kind of fun too.
Oh my God. So check that out. Chantele has some insider info as to how he is as a person and perhaps as a player. Anything else you'd like to plug right now?
That's all actually, I lie. No, I've been talking with Chappelle on his channel, Recap Kickback, about Flavor of Love, because I had never seen it before. And so I'm getting my first take of the show with Chappelle guiding me through it. So we're halfway through season 2 now. And yeah, it's been honestly amazing. Like, I've always known who New York was. And seen her do a lot of things in more recent years, but I never knew her origin story. And so like officially. And so I've been going on that journey with him once a week. We've been talking about it, and we're probably going to go through the entire Flavor of Love universe as kind of like me getting all my education, because I didn't have VH1 when I was growing up.
If you this is absolutely worth the price of admission. If you need any sort of like entry point, not say entry point, but like a reason to watch, there was a certain point that, and Chappelle tells me this all the time, where you, Chantele, thought, yeah, does anyone ever think that Hottie looks like Beyonce? And it was like, oh my God, Chantele. And I think you were like one episode away from that moment. iconic. Incredible. This is why we love this format. This is why we love this podcast. So check it out. I also check out Chantele, in particular, your reaction to what happened in the premiere of Flavor of Love 2, because there is a lot of shit going down in a manner of speaking.
Absolutely. Oh, and I also did like an actual reaction. So Chappelle was like, okay, I can't remember which episode, no, the finale episode where Pumpkin leaves. He's like, okay, at the clock ceremony, I want you to record your reaction. So I put it on my here and like I record a reaction to him of that exit, and then we replayed it for the people. So
which is wild. Like I know that you knew New York. Like I'm stunned that you did not know about the spitting.
I didn't have any clue what was coming. It was so shocking. It was
so good.
Well, Liana, your spitting game as always on the Puya and Liana Lounge. You all are back at this point. I know you did a big podcast covering your travels.
Yes, yeah. So we took a week off because we were both sick, and now we are back. We talked about everything that happened over the past 2 weeks, just sort of caught up. Again, it was episode 41, so we dropped the 4, kept the 1, or tried our best to do that. I don't know. It was just, we were still like feeling under the weather, so it was a little bit of just stream of consciousness, but I think it was a really fun one.
I mean, listen, why any of us listen to any of these podcasts, right? Like we're not buttoned up here on the B&B. We're like Jawan's overalls, right? We're just kind of like free. We're relatively held up by straps. At any point in time, the straps can come down. I strapped in and I talked with Jason. I mentioned that before. You can check out my interview over at Parade. Also spoke with the team that was very sadly yet beautifully booted from the Amazing Race this past week. Have a special treat as well. We mentioned him a couple times. Maybe he can tell me if ghosts get high off of hay. Traders Canada star Omar Zahir is going to be joining me to give his thoughts on the Amazing Race. If you don't know, he is a huge Amazing Race fan, as well as a Big Brother fan as well. So he's going to have a lot of opinions about what has been a very fun season of the Amazing Race so far. And you can check out everything else I'm doing at a Mike Bloom type. But of course, if you have any games that you want to offer us that we can stuff in our own little sock-filled buff, be sure to let us know. RHAPBNB@gmail.com or hashtag RHAPBNB on social media. Any and all ideas, incredibly welcome. We are not going to hug the idea and roll our eyes behind its back like Sage does with Shannon. And speaking of that dynamic, next week we will see if it comes to a head because, as the next time on revealed and the press release confirmed, we are like actually going back to 3 tribes. I would imagine for an episode, we're already going to be down to 12 people. I think they want to merge at 11. They want to start the jury there. So I don't think we're getting it for much longer. But we'll quickly go around the horn here. Liana, just initial thoughts without knowing anything about next week's episode about this idea purely.
Why? I get, look, okay, so here, would this be like the normal Earn the Merge spot?
Yes, this would be,
right?
Technically, usually final 13 has been Earn the Merge, but because of Jake's boot, we're now down to 12 early.
Right, okay. So, okay, fine. Like, we've talked about this before where like, I'm okay with them experimenting and trying new things out. They've been doing it for so long. Like, let's try and see. I think I was just like riding the high of like, yay, 2 tribes. But also, again, as we talked about even in this podcast, if like, let's say that, the new Hina goes back, it's probably just Jawan that's on the chopping block. Like, what's the excitement in that? So maybe we'll get something new. Maybe we'll get something exciting. Let's see how it all plays out.
What do you think, Chantele? Just sort of like sight unseen at this concept.
Well, I just don't want somebody at that same terrible beach. Like, again, like I think it's the beach that hasn't gotten any love.
They have chickens now and fire.
I guess. But I guess I don't love the 3 tribe format. We already talked about that. Not that I like the 2 tribe, but at least it was offering a little bit of variety and people were talking a little bit more about game a little bit. There's gonna be a game talk, but like going down to 3, it just doesn't, like, who cares? Like, I don't know why they need to do it. So I'm not really that fussed about it. Maybe it'll provide something interesting. So I'll be open-minded to it, but like, I'm not really expecting that much.
The thing I'm most worried about is not the Kella Beach, but the Uli Beach. Because remember, they shut that shit down like 3 days ago. And so now it's like, All right, the abandoned house is open back up for
Ooh.
Halloween. You have to stay
Spooky
in the
season.
old Uli house. Like, I feel kind of bad for those four because they would have to not start over completely, but like, there's probably no embers in that fire. Like, who knows
Mhm.
how many resources have been exhausted there. Again, it seems like it's maybe really only for 1 to 2 days, but regardless, we shall see what the breakdown is. We thought we had escaped, 4-person tribal councils, but we will be getting probably one. If unless some people have been speculating that maybe it's a one tribe wins immunity and then the other 2 tribes go together to vote somebody out. The Malcolm boot infamously in Game Changers. So regardless, we shall see how it all shakes down. And of course, Liana and I will be back next week to break down everything that happens and possibly look ahead to the merge. Special shout out to everyone behind the scenes at RHAP for packaging this podcast for your eyes and your ears, and Will from America for his fantastic theme song, which I get high off of personally. We'll be back next week covering the second swap, believe it or not, of Survivor 49. Until next time, everybody, we'll check you out at your next stay.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.